deep or deeper? So this tends to be a very deep question that makes your brain kind of running a little bit. And the question here, the context behind the question, funny enough, I was watching an anime and I saw this series, this character, and they were immortal and they were very promiscuous. And it made me think, especially current society and culture, with a lot of Americans kind of buying into the sexual promiscuity more so now, especially compared to back in the day. And I was thinking to myself, like, that allowed freedom, that allowed time to kind of explore a little bit, probably plays very much into people being much more promiscuous in society. So my question for you, Tom, to kind of set things up, if you were immortal, would you be more sexually promiscuous to the point where you would try things that you never would have tried in your current lifestyle as of right now?
Um, hmm. I don't know that being immortal would play as much into it or being mortal. I think that it's probably more so about like the negative ramifications of like having children that I'm not prepared to take care of, or having getting STDs that would probably be inconvenient. So I don't know that being immortal would actually change being promiscuous, but I suppose if you're asking more so about like trying things that I'm limited on today that I wouldn't be limited on then, I would probably maybe take it a little bit slower and not not rush into things as much, not feel like I'm pressed to get things done or to learn things as quickly if I was immortal.
See, the interesting thing to me, and obviously becoming immortal is impossible unless medical technology gets ridiculous sometime in the next 100 years, hundreds of years. But my thing is, I'm curious on the on people's aspect when they really think about it. If you're living for like benchmark 900 years, and you've done a lot of things, you have pretty much freedom to kind of live your life, and obviously when it comes to starting a family, we know that there's certain ramifications for that is you will outlive your children. So you just want to explore for a couple hundred years, do it with a lot of women if you're a man, and have fun with that. Who's to say that a person won't go like, you know what, YOLO, and just like see a man go like, bro, I'm not like that, but like I might try it out. So I feel like people, if they're bored enough, may just go down that road. You don't think so?
I don't know. I mean, I think that sexual attraction is pretty complicated. I think most of the time where I don't think it's easy to try to get off to something that's not attractive to you. I don't think that it's easy to like to get going when something doesn't get you going. And so I don't know if people are able to just like turn things on and off on a whim just because they made the decision to.
See, the reason why I'm able to apply it to current society is very much so that the nature of sexual attraction has changed so much in current society because of porn, right? Simply, people would be very simply attracted to certain things when it comes to the opposite sex, breasts, a good ass, you know what I'm saying, hips, of course, or looks or face. But now, because of porn, the benchmark of what people are becoming attracted to, and that may play in part into sex addiction or porn addiction, has grown because of their access to said thing, to the point where we have people in society today that are attracted to some very, very strange stuff via furries,
Mm-hmm.
via, you know, I'm not going into categories for y'all. Y'all know the weird categories. I don't even have to say it for you, okay? So those weird categories out there. And initially, if they never watched porn, they probably never would have been attracted to that. But since they dove into that road and they had the freedom, they had the time, and what they were into wasn't enough, and they kept on growing in terms of peak interest and the dopamine effect, it makes sense to me how that, and the reason why I can apply it to society today, on why current society is becoming more promiscuous, is because nowadays people have more free time, more ability to kind of dive into porn all the time, more freedom to explore their sexual nature. So that, in my opinion, is why people are kind of going down that road more so in society today versus back in the day. So that's kind of my take on it. Anything?
Um, yeah, I don't. So I think that you can obviously socialize yourself into some sort of attraction if you look at it enough. I don't know that the furry people haven't always existed in some sense and just didn't have a way to congregate because they didn't have the internet. They didn't know about one another because it's still very rare. So it's unlikely that somebody in my town who's a furry has another person in this town that's also a furry. The only way that they can find other furries is through the internet. And he's like, the one that's in the other town. And so it's possible that these people have just always existed to some sense. But I also think because of the internet, you're probably able to socialize yourself into certain attractions that you wouldn't have been capable of being attracted to before. And so it's possible that, yeah, there's a lot more of these people today than there would be otherwise.